This is testimony provided to the Ohio House Health Committee on May 23, 2018, in opposition to House Bill 559. Chairman Huffman, Vice Chair Gavarone, Ranking Member Antonio, and the members of the Health Committee, I thank you for allowing me to provide opponent testimony on House Bill 559. My name is Tony DiBiase. I'm a retired professional engineer, and I've been studying vaccines and related information for over 18 years after having a grandson who was vaccine injured. My studies included information from a variety of medical books and publications, including videos from medical conferences and government sources like the FDA, the CDC, and the NIH. I'm opposed to this bill because, 1, it violates the fundamental civil and medical rights of individuals. 2, it is further encroachment of big government on the people's lives. 3, it violates the U.S. Constitution and the Ohio Constitution, which all of you swore to uphold. 4, this legislative body does not heed the voices and experiences of many Ohio constituents, but consistently listen to the voices of the embedded, influential lobbyists. This bill is the third attempt in the last 2 years by the Ohio legislative process to place another individual in the pathway and process for another person to exercise the rights guaranteed by the Constitution. Ohio legislators have previously been provided notice of those violations in the 2 previous attempts. I am astonished as to how the Ohio Legislative Service Commission still continues to ignore that information and did not red flag the proposed HB 559 legislation put forth in Ohio. When it comes to vaccines, most in the medical profession simply regurgitate the sanitized version given to them during their medical careers, which are heavily influenced from the embedded medical-industrial complex. An example of the embedded medical-industrial complex is the report of the ethics quandary at the Harvard Medical School. Based upon first-hand experiences with my family members who are in the medical field, there are very few who fully understand the complex field of vaccination and immunization. In fact, many in the medical field use those words interchangeably. Keep in mind, just because a person has been vaccinated for a pathogen entering the body does not mean that that person is immunized against that pathogen. Experience shows that those who have been vaccinated still contract the illness. Many in the medical field have a very limited knowledge regarding vaccines, vaccine injuries, and federal laws regarding them, as well as how interwoven the medical industry is with vaccine manufacturers and government agencies and working groups within the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. This legislation is also written with what I call weasel words. It attempts to emphasize that a parent or guardian can still submit a statement regarding the declination of the immunization, even while the rights of parents or guardian are being violated by the insertion of another individual into the process of the parent or guardian exercising those rights. Then the words in the write-up by the Ohio Legislative Service Commission states, quote, that the signature does not constitute a determination that a child is exempt from the immunization required for school entry or child care enrollment, end quote. This appears to be double talk. Passing HB 559 reinforces the future use of agencies' Ohio administrative codes to subvert the legislative process and silence the voices of Ohio constituents. There is no oversight or voice given to Ohio constituents on how, when, where, or what other conditions may be included in the proposed standard form. Future Ohio administrative codes could easily result in what California has experienced by the passage of California SB 277, which held their children's public education hostage and completely stripped away, all the way, philosophical and religious exemptions. Based upon what I heard during proponent testimonies, including questions and answers, you need to know the following. Contrary to the mantra that, quote, vaccines are safe, end quote, the Supreme Court ruled in 2011, Bruswitz versus Wyeth, that vaccines are, quote, unavoidably unsafe, end quote. Also, the National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program, NVICP, which shields vaccine manufacturers from product liability, was created in the mid-1980s and has paid over $3.8 billion due to vaccine injuries. The NVICP is funded by 75-cent excise tax on each vaccine sold. The federal statute indemnifies the entire vaccine industry from civil liabilities and violates our Ohio Constitution by dismantling each Ohio's guaranteed right to an open trial in the state of Ohio. A vaccine adverse event reporting system, better known as VAERS, is a passive reporting system created and co-managed by the CDC and the FDA to gather information on vaccine safety issues. Many in the medical field are not well versed on vaccine issues, reactions, and VAERS reporting, and as a result, severe vaccine reaction injuries are not always reported to the system. Attached is an abbreviated vaccine cell line list, including aborted fetal cell line products, for various vaccines, which aligns with the vaccine excipient and media summary from the CDC. This information further supports the violation of conscience by those who choose not to vaccinate. Vaccines are considered biologics and do not go through the rigorous, long-term, double-blind, inert, placebo-controlled trials as done for pharmaceutical drugs. On October 12, 2017, the Informed Consent Action Network, better known as ICANN, sent a comprehensive and well-documented letter to the Health and Human Services. The letter was signed onto by over 55 organizations representing over 5 million members, requesting confirmation of certain obligations regarding vaccine safety under the National Vaccine Injury Act of 1986. At HHS, that response has not been received to date. Thank you for allowing me to submit this testimony, and if you have any questions, I will answer them.